My beloved child, I have seen the quiet family pain you have carried without explaining it to everyone. I have seen the way you smile when your heart is crowded with concern. I have seen the way you answer, "I am fine," while your spirit is holding names, memories, conflicts, bills, sickness, silence, distance, disappointment, and fear. You have carried things that did not always have language. You have carried conversations that were never finished, wounds that were never acknowledged, and responsibilities that seemed to return to your hands again and again. But I say to you tonight, what was hidden from people was never hidden from me. There were prayers you whispered when the house became quiet. There were tears you wiped away before children could see them, before parents could ask, before a spouse could notice, before siblings could question why your eyes looked so tired. There were moments when you stood in a kitchen, sat in a car, lay awake in bed, or walked through a hallway, and your heart said what your mouth could not say. Lord, help my family. Lord, touch them. Lord, change this. Lord, do not let us break. And I heard every word. I heard the prayer beneath the prayer. I heard the groan beneath the sentence. I heard the ache beneath the silence. Understand this, my child. Your worry is not proof that I have ignored your family. Your heaviness is not evidence that heaven has turned away. This is not abandonment. This is not divine distance. This is not the end of the story being written over your house. What you have felt as pressure has reached my hands. What you have held against your chest has come before my throne. What seemed buried in your private thoughts has entered the place of my divine attention. Not one tear has been misplaced. Not one midnight prayer has fallen empty. Not one burden you carried in love has been treated as small before me. You have often believed that if you stopped holding everything together, everything would fall apart. You have believed that if you stopped checking, worrying, fixing, reminding, covering, explaining, and absorbing, then the family would collapse under the weight of its own pain. But I want you to understand clearly, you were never the source that held them together. I have been present in places you could not enter. I have been working in hearts you could not reach. I have been standing in conversations you could not control. And tonight I am drawing your soul into a holy release. This is not a night for more carrying. This is not a night for adding another layer of fear to your mind or another stone to your heart. This is a night for placing what has become too heavy for human strength into the hands that formed heaven and earth. As it is written, cast all your care upon him, for he cares for you. My beloved child, I do not ask you to pretend that the burden is light. I ask you to believe that my hands are strong. I do not ask you to deny the pain. I ask you to bring the pain where mercy can cover it, where wisdom can govern it, and where restoration can begin. And if this word is touching the place you have not known how to speak about, if you are carrying a family burden tonight, let your heart come into agreement. Like this video as an act of faith, not as a performance, but as a quiet sign that you are no longer carrying this alone. Subscribe for prayer-filled encouragement, because I'm going to continue strengthening you in the hidden places. And write in the comments, my family is in God's hands tonight. Let those words become a marker in the ground, a witness that your burden is being transferred from anxious striving into holy trust. My child, breathe deeply now. The burden is no longer merely in your mind. It is no longer only on your chest. It is no longer confined to the rooms of your home, the silence of your phone, the tension of your table, or the fear that rises when you think about what might happen next. It has reached me. It has entered the place of my attention. It is seen, received, and held. And what I hold, I do not hold carelessly. What you release to me, I cover with faithfulness. Tonight, your family burden has reached heaven. My beloved child, now that the burden has reached my hands, I want you to hear this with a tenderness that can enter the deepest place of your soul. You were never meant to be the savior of your family. You were never appointed to repair every argument, heal every wound, pay every cost, prevent every collapse, explain every misunderstanding, and stand between every heart that refuses to soften. I know you have tried, because you love deeply. I know your hands have reached for broken pieces again and again, because you did not want the people you love to bleed any more than they already have. But love was never meant to become a chain around your chest. Understand this clearly, my child. I am not asking you to stop loving them. I am teaching your love where to rest. This is not love becoming weak. This is love learning its rightful boundary under my authority. This is not indifference. This is not coldness. This is not abandonment. This is the moment when love stops pretending it can be God and begins trusting the one who is. You may still pray, you may still care, you may still speak with wisdom when I lead you. You may still serve with a pure heart, but you must no longer carry the secret belief that the survival of your family depends on the strength of your anxiety. Intercession is holy, but control is too heavy for the human soul to carry. Prayer draws the burden into my presence. Control keeps dragging the burden back into your own hands. Intercession releases names before my throne. Control watches every movement with fear. Intercession says, Lord, touch what I cannot touch. Control says, if I do not manage this, everything will fall apart. My beloved child, I have not called you to live under that torment. I have not called you to become the silent wall that absorbs every impact, the hidden servant who never rests, the one who must always be strong because everyone else is fragile. You have feared that if you stop worrying, you will stop caring. But worry has never been the proof of love. Fear has never been the measure of faithfulness. Sleeplessness has never been the evidence that your heart is pure. As it is written, cast your burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain you. I did not say, cast it upon me only after you have solved it. I did not say, cast it upon me only when the family finally listens, changes, apologizes, repents, returns, or understands. I said, cast your burden upon me. Place the weight where sustaining power actually lives. And I say again, as it is written, come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. My child, you have labored in your mind. You have labored in your emotions. You have labored in conversations that never happened, in apologies you never received, in outcomes you could not predict, and in responsibilities that were never yours to own. Come unto me, not as the family fixer, not as the one who must hold everything together, not as the frightened guardian of every possible outcome. Come as my son, come as my daughter, come as one who is loved before you are useful, held before you are strong, and covered before you understand the next step. Release is obedience. Placing your family in my hands is not betrayal, it is trust. It is your soul agreeing with heaven that I am able to reach farther than your words, deeper than your efforts, and wiser than your plans. When you release the role of Savior, you do not lose your place in the family. You return to your place in me. You stop standing under a weight that was crushing your spirit, and you begin standing under my covering as one restored, not one consumed. So breathe, my beloved child. Let your shoulders lower. Let your heart unclench. Let the names, the faces, the fears, the unfinished stories, and the unresolved pain come before me again. You are not abandoning them. You are entrusting them. You are not walking away from love. You are walking out of false responsibility. And as you release what only I can carry, I will begin restoring what the burden has taken from you. I will restore your rest. I will restore your tenderness. I will restore your joy. I will restore you as my child, not as a servant crushed by duty, but as one held in the faithful arms of the Father. My beloved child, do not be afraid of the shaking you have seen in your home. Do not look at the tension in conversations, the emotional distance, the financial pressure, the sickness, the silence, the rebellion, the misunderstanding, and the unresolved grief, and conclude that I have departed from your family. I know how quickly your heart begins to interpret movement as danger. I know how quickly you wonder, is this where everything breaks? Is this where the family scatters? Is this where the pain becomes too much to repair? But I say to you, what is shaking is not always being destroyed. Sometimes what is shaking is being revealed. Understand this, my child. This is not collapse, but exposure. This is not destruction, but divine rearrangement. This is not the end of your family, but the uncovering of what must be healed. There are things that have lived beneath the surface for many years, things no one named, things everyone walked around, things covered with politeness, busyness, pride, fear, and silence. But what remains hidden can continue ruling a household from underneath. What is never brought into the light can keep speaking through reactions, through distance, through anger, through avoidance, through repeated patterns no one understands. So when I allow certain things to surface, it is not because I desire shame over your family, it is because I desire freedom. You have called it chaos because it feels uncomfortable. You have called it loss because it does not look like peace. You have called it failure because old wounds are becoming visible again. But I call it an inspection before restoration. Think of a house, my beloved child. When a builder comes to restore what has been weakened, he does not merely paint the walls and decorate the rooms while the foundation remains fractured. He looks beneath. He tests what has carried weight. He reveals what has shifted. He exposes what must be strengthened before beauty can safely return. So it is with your family. I am not merely touching appearances. I am looking at foundations. I am reaching into places where fear, resentment, secrecy, grief, and generational pain have settled like cracks beneath the floor. Do not fear the inspection. Do not fear the revealing. Do not fear the moment when what was whispered becomes clear, when what was buried begins to rise, when what was avoided can no longer be ignored. I do not bring things into the light to humiliate what I love. I bring them into the light because darkness cannot heal what it keeps concealed. As it is written, everything that is made manifest is light. My child, light may feel sharp at first when eyes have adjusted to darkness, but light is mercy. Light is direction. Light is the beginning of truth, entering places where confusion has been speaking for too long. Remember Joseph. His family looked shattered by betrayal, distance, jealousy, famine, and years that could not be recovered. His brothers sold him. His father grieved him. The household carried a wound that traveled through time. From the outside, it looked like division had won. It looked as though betrayal had written the final chapter. But I was arranging preservation through what seemed unbearable. I was moving in the distance. I was working in the famine. I was positioning Joseph where his family would one day be fed, covered, confronted, humbled, and reunited under my providence. What men meant for evil, I turned for good. What looked like the ruin of a family became the place where mercy spoke louder than betrayal. So it is with you. I am not confused by your family history. I am not overwhelmed by the layers. I am not intimidated by old wounds, complicated relationships, generational patterns, broken trust, absent voices, stubborn hearts, financial strain, sickness in the body, or grief that has never found language. I know where every story began. I know what each person carried before they knew how to explain it. I know what was inherited, what was learned, what was suffered, what was hidden, and what was repeated. No complexity in your family is too tangled for my wisdom. No distance is too wide for my reach. No history is too heavy for my redeeming hand. Therefore, do not interpret the shaking as proof that I have left. I am present in the shaking. I am present in the silence. I am present in the conversations that feel fragile and in the rooms that feel heavy. I am present where tears have been swallowed and where anger has spoken louder than love. I am not standing outside your family waiting for it to become clean enough for me to enter. I am already moving within what needs healing. Be still, my beloved child. What is being shaken is not beyond my authority. What is being revealed is not beyond my mercy. What is being uncovered is not beyond my power to restore. And now I will turn your eyes from what is trembling to who is being covered, from what you cannot control to the ones I can reach, from the shaking beneath your roof to the protection of my hand over every name you have placed before me. My beloved child, I am covering the ones you cannot reach. I know the fear that rises when they are far from your eyes, when you do not know where they are, what they are thinking, what decision they are about to make, what burden they are hiding, what temptation is near them, or what danger may be waiting in a place you cannot enter. I know how your heart searches for information because information feels like safety. I know how your mind asks, are they okay? Are they listening? Are they safe? Are they making the right choice? Are they too tired? Are they too angry? Are they too far gone? But I say to you, absence from your sight is not absence from my care. You cannot stand in every doorway, but I can. You cannot sit beside every bed, ride in every car, enter every conversation, or hear every private thought, but I can. You cannot keep every child from pain, every parent from weariness, every spouse from pressure, every sibling from confusion, or every resistant family member from the consequences of stubbornness. But my mercy can stand where your reach ends. My beloved child, your limitation is not the boundary of my covering. Your inability to control them is not evidence that they are unprotected. Your silence in a moment does not mean heaven is silent. Your distance does not make me distant. I see the child who is far away. I see the son or daughter whose life you cannot manage, whose choices you cannot force, whose heart you cannot open by human strength. I see the parent growing tired, carrying age, memory, regret, sickness, or loneliness in ways they may not fully speak. I see the spouse under pressure, carrying demands, fears, hidden thoughts, and battles that have worn down tenderness. I see the sibling in confusion, torn between pride and pain. Between wanting help and resisting it, I see the family member who will not listen, who turns away from counsel, who hardens when love speaks, who mistakes concern for control. I see them all. Not one name is outside my awareness. Not one road is hidden from me. Not one room is beyond my presence. Do not pray from panic, my child. Pray from covenant. Do not intercede as one who believes disaster has greater authority than my hand. Intercede as one who knows that I am watching when you are sleeping, moving when you are waiting, guarding when you are uncertain, and speaking in ways you may not immediately recognize. As it is written, "He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty." That shadow is not fragile. That covering is not weak. My hand can rest over a doorway. My light can fill a room. My angels can be assigned where your feet cannot go. My peace can enter an atmosphere before a conversation changes. My mercy can stand in the very place where fear expected disaster. And I say to you, as it is written, "Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy God. I will strengthen, I will help, I will uphold with the right hand of my righteousness." Do you see, my beloved child? I did not say I would only help when you understood the process. I did not say I would only uphold when you could see proof. I did not say I would only protect when every family member cooperated with your concern. I am God in the visible place, and God in the hidden place. I am Father in the near room and Father in the far country. I am shepherd over the one who stays close and the one who wanders. Trust without demanding constant visible proof. This does not mean you stop caring. This means you stop making your nervous system the altar where every family outcome must be sacrificed. Watch when I tell you to watch. Speak when I give you wisdom to speak. Act when I open the door for action. But when the door is closed, when the phone is quiet, when the answer has not come, when the person will not receive your words, return them to me again. Say their name before me without torment. Place them beneath my covering without imagining every possible tragedy. Let your prayer become a shelter, not a storm. As it is written, "The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore." My eye does not grow tired. My hand does not withdraw because you cannot see it. My watchfulness does not depend on your constant fear. I am covering your family in ways you may only understand later. I am interrupting certain paths. I am softening certain moments. I am delaying what needed to be delayed. I am sending help in forms you did not expect. I am placing light in rooms where heaviness has gathered. But understand this also, my child. My protection is not only around them, it is entering within them. I am not only guarding bodies, homes, roads, and doors. I am moving toward the old wounds that have made your family afraid, defensive, silent, angry, divided, and weary. My covering is not merely external safety, it is healing mercy. It is light entering the inner rooms. It is love approaching the places where fear has lived too long. And now I will begin bringing into my light the wounds that divided your family, not to shame you, not to expose you for destruction, but to heal what secrecy could never repair. My beloved child, I am bringing the wounds that divided your family into the light. I know this may feel uncomfortable, because light does not always feel gentle when it first touches what has been hidden for many years. There are words spoken in anger that still echo in certain hearts. There is favoritism that made one feel chosen and another feel forgotten. There is abandonment that taught someone to protect themselves before they knew how to love freely. There is betrayal that weakened trust, addiction that brought confusion into the home, neglect that left silent hunger in the soul, pride that refused apology, resentment that grew roots in secret, and grief no one ever processed because everyone was trying to survive. You may have called it hopeless because it has been there so long. You may have looked at the repeated arguments, the cold distance, the same reactions, the same silence, the same defensiveness, and said within yourself, nothing will ever change. But I say to you, my child, do not call exposed what I have called prepared for healing. Do not call hopeless what I have brought into my light. Do not call impossible what my mercy has begun to touch. This is not shame coming upon your family. This is truth being invited where performance once stood. This is not destruction. This is cleansing. This is not the tearing apart of what remains. This is my hand reaching beneath the surface to heal what secrecy and silence could never repair. Understand this clearly. Some patterns continued because no one had the strength to name them. Some wounds passed from one generation to another because the first heart that was broken never knew how to grieve in my presence. Pain was buried, but buried pain still speaks. It speaks through anger. It speaks through withdrawal. It speaks through control. It speaks through suspicion. It speaks through harsh words, cold rooms, nervous children, distant spouses, and adult sons and daughters who still carry questions from younger years. What is not healed does not disappear simply because time passes. Time can cover a wound, but my light cleanses it. Time can make people quieter, but my spirit makes them free. So when I lift an old root, do not be afraid of what comes up with it. When a gardener removes what has been choking the ground, the soil is disturbed before it is restored. When a physician cleans an infected place, tenderness may be felt before strength returns. When a closed room is opened after years of stale air, there may be dust, there may be heaviness, there may be things uncovered that no one wanted to see. But then the breath enters. Then the window is opened. Then fresh air begins to move where heaviness had settled. So it is with your family. I am lifting roots that grew beneath language. I am cleaning places where bitterness entered through injury. I am opening rooms that fear kept locked. I am replacing the heavy air with the breath of my spirit. As it is written, the truth shall make you free. My child, truth in my hands is not a weapon against you. Truth in my hands is a key. Truth in my hands is medicine. Truth in my hands is the beginning of freedom. I will not ask you to pretend that what happened did not happen. I will not ask you to rename neglect as love, betrayal as misunderstanding, or cruelty as weakness. I am not the author of denial. I am the God who searches the heart, the God who binds up the brokenhearted, the God who gives beauty for ashes and the oil of joy for mourning. But hear me tenderly. You are an intercessor, not the rescuer. You are called to stand before me with clean hands and a surrendered heart, not to force every person in your family to change according to your timing. You can pray. You can forgive. You can speak truth when I give you wisdom. You can refuse to continue old cycles in your own responses. You can let your yes be clean and your no be peaceful. But you cannot drag every heart into healing by the strength of your emotions. You cannot make pride bow. You cannot make denial confess. You cannot make an unready person see what only my spirit can reveal. Stand before me. Bring the names before me. Bring the history before me. Bring the pain before me. Let your intercession be pure, not controlling, steady, not frantic, faithful, not bitter. Healing may not come through one dramatic conversation. Do not demand that every buried thing be solved in one moment. I often prepare hearts before I open mouths. I soften before I reconcile. I humble before I restore. I arrange timing before I release conversation. I teach one person to listen. I teach another to repent. I teach another to stop defending the wound. I teach another to grieve what they were never allowed to feel. I am working in layers, my beloved child. I am not careless with fragile places. I know when a heart is ready. I know when a word must wait. I know when silence is avoidance, and I know when silence is preparation. Remember Joseph standing before the brothers who wounded him. The pain was real, the years were real, the betrayal was real, but I had prepared a place where truth and mercy could meet. Remember the prodigal son and the father who watched the road. Restoration did not begin by denying the distance. It began when the lost one came to himself and the Father's mercy was already waiting. So it is with you. I am able to prepare both the one who was hurt and the one who caused hurt. I am able to meet the family at different points on the road and still move them toward my purpose. Therefore, keep your heart tender while I bring these wounds into light. Do not let exposure become accusation in your mouth. Do not let memory become a throne in your soul. Do not let pain become the ruler of your future. When wounds come into the light, the soul must choose. It must choose whether to hold the wound as its identity or surrender the wound into my justice. It must choose whether to rehearse the injury until bitterness becomes familiar or place the truth of what happened into the hands of the righteous judge. My child, I am not asking you to deny the pain. I am inviting you to stop letting the pain govern your family line. And as the light continues to shine, forgiveness will become the door through which the chain begins to break. My beloved child, forgiveness will break the chain without denying the pain. Hear this deeply, because the enemy has tried to confuse your heart about what forgiveness means. Forgiveness is not pretending the wound did not matter. Forgiveness is not calling evil good. Forgiveness is not saying that betrayal was harmless, neglect was acceptable, abuse was love, abandonment was nothing, or cruelty was only a small misunderstanding. I do not ask you to lie about what happened in order to be free from it. Truth and forgiveness are not enemies in my kingdom. Truth names the wound. Forgiveness removes the wound from the throne. Understand this, my child. Forgiveness does not mean returning to unsafe patterns. It does not mean opening doors I have given you wisdom to close. It does not mean handing your heart back into the same hands that crushed it without repentance, accountability, or change. Boundaries can remain while bitterness leaves. Wisdom can remain while revenge dies. Truth can remain while hatred is removed. You can forgive and still walk in discernment. You can release judgment into my hands and still refuse to partner with destruction. Forgiveness is not the absence of wisdom. Forgiveness is the cleansing of the heart from the poison that pain wanted to leave behind. You have carried certain memories like evidence in a courtroom that never closes. You have rehearsed conversations in the night. You have answered accusations that no one was currently speaking. You have replayed the moment, the word, the look, the absence, the betrayal, the unfairness, and your soul has grown tired from presenting the case again and again. My beloved child, I saw it the first time. I did not need the wound repeated for me to believe you. I did not need your pain to remain fresh in order for justice to remain real. I am the righteous judge. When you forgive, you are not dismissing the case. You are transferring it from the court of your torment into the court of my holiness. As it is written, be kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God for Christ's sake hath forgiven you. And again, as it is written, forgive one another. If any man have a quarrel against any, even as Christ forgave you, so also do ye. My child, these words are not given to erase your tears. They are given to keep your tears from becoming chains. I have forgiven you with truth, not denial, with mercy, not blindness, with blood, not empty words. So when I call you into forgiveness, I am calling you into a holy release that only grace can empower. I am not asking your flesh to excuse what it cannot bear. I am inviting your spirit to agree with my mercy and place justice where justice belongs. Do you see what is happening? This is not only about one wound. This is about a current that has traveled through your family line. Anger has been inherited. Coldness has been learned. Revenge has been justified. Manipulation has been used as protection. Fear has shaped conversations. Pride has silenced apologies. Pain has taught people to strike before they are struck, withdraw before they are rejected, control before they are disappointed, and harden before they are hurt. But I am raising you as a stopping point. You are not merely surviving what came before you. You are becoming the place where an old chain loses permission to continue. You are the stopping point of a long chain and the beginning of another direction. When you forgive, inherited anger meets a boundary. When you bless instead of curse, emotional coldness loses another room. When you refuse revenge, the pattern is interrupted. When you speak truth without hatred, manipulation is denied its old language. When you choose prayer over bitterness, fear no longer gets to write the atmosphere through your mouth. One surrendered heart can become a doorway for a new current. One forgiven heart can interrupt what many accepted as normal. One obedient heart can stand before me and say, "Let this not pass through me unchanged." Remember Joseph. His brothers meant evil against him. They betrayed him, rejected him, sold him, and left his father to grieve a lie. Joseph did not pretend the wound was small. He did not deny the evil. But when the appointed moment came, he said, "What you meant for evil, God meant for good." My beloved child, this is the mystery of my redeeming hand. I do not call evil good. I overcome evil with good. I take what was intended to destroy and weave it into preservation. Humility, wisdom, mercy, and deliverance. So it is with you. What wounded you will not be allowed to rule you. What broke trust will not be allowed to define your entire bloodline. What came through pain can be placed into my hands and transformed into a testimony of grace. Therefore, release the need to rehearse the wound every night. Release the demand that every person understand the depth of what they did before you allow your heart to breathe. Release the secret agreement that bitterness keeps you safe. Bitterness does not protect you, my child. It keeps the wound alive as a ruler. It speaks in your reactions. It tightens your chest. It darkens your memory. It makes the future pay for what the past has done. But forgiveness opens the locked room. Forgiveness does not erase the truth of what happened. It removes the wound from the throne and places justice back in my hands. Let me judge rightly. Let me heal deeply. Let me teach you where to speak, where to be silent, where to draw near, where to step back, where to rebuild, and where to wait. Forgiveness is not the end of discernment. It is the beginning of freedom. And as bitterness loses its throne in you, peace will have room to enter. Peace will begin moving through the rooms where fear has been speaking. Peace will rest over your thoughts, your words, your boundaries, your prayers, and the atmosphere of your family, until what once trembled under pain begins to breathe under my presence. My beloved child, peace is entering the rooms where fear has been speaking. Fear has had a voice in your house for too long. It has spoken through sleepless nights when your mind would not rest. It has spoken through tense rooms where everyone could feel the heaviness, but no one knew how to name it. It has spoken through unanswered calls, delayed messages, bills on the table, medical reports in trembling hands, family arguments that opened old wounds, and quiet moments when you wondered if something worse was coming. Fear has tried to become the interpreter of your family story. Fear has tried to tell you what the silence means, what the delay means, what the conflict means, what the weakness means, what the uncertainty means. But I say to you, my child, fear is not the prophet over your household. Anxiety is not the ruler of your bloodline. Panic is not the voice you must obey. I am releasing my peace into the places where fear has been rehearsing disaster. This peace is not a fragile emotion that disappears when circumstances remain unfinished. This peace is not denial. This peace is not pretending that every question has already been answered. Every person has already changed. Every bill has already been paid. Every diagnosis has already been reversed. Every relationship has already been restored. My peace is a governing presence. My peace can stand in the middle of unresolved circumstances and still carry authority. Understand this clearly. Peace does not mean everything is already fixed. Peace means I am present before everything is fully visible. Peace means my hand is working before your eyes can measure the outcome. Peace means your soul no longer has to wait for every family member to act rightly before it can rest in me. Peace means your heart can come under my covering, even while conversations are still tender, even while answers are still forming, even while healing is still unfolding layer by layer. As it is written, peace I leave with you, my peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth, give I unto you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. Do you hear me, beloved? I did not give you the kind of peace that depends on perfect conditions. The world gives peace when the report is good, when the money is enough, when the phone rings, when the apology comes, when the argument ends, when everyone behaves in a way that makes you feel safe. But my peace comes before the visible proof. My peace enters the kitchen, where hard conversations have happened. My peace enters the bedroom where you have cried quietly and tried to gather strength for another day. My peace enters the hospital room where machines, waiting, and uncertainty have tried to speak louder than faith. My peace enters the car where you have prayed with both hands on the wheel and tears in your eyes. My peace enters the workplace where you carry family concerns behind a composed face. My peace enters the phone conversation before the first word is spoken, teaching your voice to be steady, your heart to be guarded, and your spirit to remain beneath my authority. Therefore, stop rehearsing disaster as though fear can prepare you better than my spirit can keep you. Stop imagining every possible collapse and calling it wisdom. Stop letting your mind build rooms of sorrow before I have spoken the final word. This does not mean you ignore what is real. It means you refuse to crown fear as Lord over what is real. When the thought comes, answer it with, my covering. When the anxiety rises, place the name before me again. When the room feels heavy, speak peace, not panic. Say, This family belongs under the hand of God. Say, the Lord is covering what I cannot control. Say, my heart will not agree with destruction. My prayers will agree with mercy. As it is written, the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. My child, peace that surpasses understanding is peace that remains when understanding is incomplete. It guards the heart when the facts are still unfolding. It guards the mind when old patterns try to return. It stands like a watchman at the door of your thoughts and says, fear may knock, but it will not govern here. Let my peace govern your atmosphere. Let it move through your words, your pauses, your decisions, your boundaries, your prayers, your waiting. Let it teach you how to sit in a room without absorbing every burden as your own. Let it teach you how to love your family without becoming ruled by their condition. And as peace enters the rooms where fear has been speaking, I will also enter the hidden place within you, because I am not only healing the family burden, I am renewing the one who has carried it for so long. My beloved child, I am renewing your strength while you release the weight. I have seen the way you have carried more than you told anyone. I have seen the parent who kept standing when their own heart was trembling. I have seen the spouse who kept praying while feeling unseen. I have seen the adult child who became strong too early, watching over parents, siblings, decisions, sickness, finances, emotions, and old family patterns with a heart that rarely had time to rest. I have seen the intercessor who has stood in the gap so long that prayer began to feel like labor instead of breathing. I have seen you, my child. Not one weary moment has been hidden from me. Do not call yourself faithless because you are tired. Do not call yourself weak because your hands are heavy. Do not call yourself failing because you cannot carry today what only my strength was meant to carry. Your exhaustion is not proof that I have left you. Your weariness is not evidence of spiritual defeat. It is an invitation into deeper dependence. You were never meant to be the endless source. You were meant to remain connected to me, the fountain that does not run dry. Understand this clearly. I am not only working on the burden you have carried for your family, I am restoring the one who has carried it. I am touching your nervous system where fear trained it to stay alert. I am calming the places in you that learned to expect interruption, conflict, bad news, sudden need, or emotional collapse. I am restoring sleep where worry has stolen rest. I am clearing your mind where too many possibilities have crowded your thoughts. I am renewing patience where pressure has made your responses sharp. I am reviving prayer where panic tried to take the place of communion. I am teaching you how to love without being consumed. As it is written, they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. My child, waiting upon me is not passive despair. It is wholly returning. It is the soul coming back to its source. It is the heart saying, I cannot be God over this family, but I can trust the God who is. It is not weakness to wait on me. It is wisdom. It is not surrender to stop striving. It is alignment. And I say to you, as it is written, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Do you see? I do not despise the place where your strength ends. I meet you there. I do not turn away from your limits. I fill them. I do not ask you to pretend you are not weary. I ask you to bring your weariness into my presence, where grace becomes strength and weakness becomes a doorway. Therefore, answer with gentleness when your old fear wants to react. Pray without panic when a name rises in your heart. Set boundaries without guilt when I give you peace to step back. Continue walking in peace, even when others are still learning how to walk differently. You can love deeply and still rest. You can care faithfully and still release control. You can intercede with authority and still sleep beneath my covering. My beloved child, renewed strength is not only for survival. I am strengthening you so you can stand as a vessel of covenant peace over your family. You will not stand frantic. You will not stand bitter. You will not stand exhausted by striving. You will stand covered, restored, steady, and surrendered, carrying not the weight of saving everyone, but the presence of the one who saves. My beloved child, a new covenant current is beginning in your bloodline. Do not look at the history of your family and believe that what has repeated must always repeat. Do not look at addiction and call it stronger than my mercy. Do not look at division and call it stronger than my covenant. Do not look at poverty rage, silence, abandonment, unbelief, betrayal, and fear, and say, "These are the rulers of your household. They are not greater than my hand. They are not deeper than my blood. They are not stronger than my promise." What is spoken loudly in the past does not have the authority to write the final word over your family. Understand this clearly. Old cycles may have had access, but they do not have ownership. Patterns may have traveled through generations, but they are not eternal. Pain may have repeated, but it is not sovereign. I am the Lord who visits families with mercy. I am the God who remembers covenant. I am the one who can step into a line marked by fear and begin a stream of faith. I can step into a house marked by striving and begin a river of peace. I can step into a name marked by shame and begin to write restoration. What I begin, I complete. What I cover, I keep. What I heal, I restore in my appointed time, not early, not late, not according to panic, but according to my wisdom. You have wondered whether your prayers have made any difference, because visible fruit has not always appeared. You have prayed over names that still seem resistant. You have spoken blessing over rooms that still felt tense. You have asked me to touch hearts that still seemed hard, to guide children who still seemed far, to heal parents who still seemed wounded, to protect siblings who still seemed bound, to restore marriages, to break addictions, to provide where lack has been familiar. And sometimes you have looked at the ground and seen no green shoot rising. But I say to you, my child, your prayers are seeds in the family line. Seeds do not always announce themselves when they are breaking open beneath the soil. Roots grow before fruit appears. Hidden life begins before a visible harvest is seen. No prayer surrendered to me is wasted. No tear placed before me is ignored. No whispered intercession in the night has fallen to the ground. No blessing spoken over your family and faith has been lost in the air. I gather what you release. I receive what you entrust. I plant what you pray, and even when the eyes cannot yet see the field changing, I am working beneath the surface, softening soil, removing stones, watering hidden places, preparing a harvest that fear said would never come. Remember Noah, who found grace in my sight, and his household was preserved through waters that shook the earth. Remember Rahab, whose faith reached beyond herself, and her family was spared when judgment came upon the city. Remember the jailer who asked what he must do to be saved, and salvation touched his house. Remember Joshua, standing before the people and declaring, "As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." These were not perfect households. These were not stories without fear, danger, trembling, or uncertainty. But my mercy entered, my covenant covered, my salvation reached further than one individual moment and began to touch homes, names, generations, and futures. So it is with you. I am not asking you to pretend that every family member is in the same place. I am not asking you to force one declaration upon unwilling hearts. I am calling you to stand in your place with clean surrender and holy agreement. You can declare what your heart will belong to. You can declare what your prayers will agree with. You can declare what spirit will not govern your mouth, your home, your decisions, or your future. You can say, "As for me and my house, we will belong to the Lord." You can say it through tears. You can say it while the process is unfinished. You can say it while some are near and some are far. You can say it not as control, but as covenant alignment. And hear me tenderly. Restoration may not look the way your fear demanded or your imagination designed. Sometimes restoration comes through repentance and embraces. Sometimes it comes through reconciliation and renewed trust. Sometimes it comes through softened hearts, learning to speak what pride once buried. Sometimes it comes through wise separation, where I protect what must no longer be exposed to harm. Sometimes it comes through provision, where lack had trained the family to expect survival only. Sometimes it comes through a new spiritual direction in one person, who begins to pray, forgive, live differently, and raise children under another sound. Do not limit my restoration to one form. I know how to heal. I know how to protect. I know how to rebuild. I know when to gather and when to guard. I know when to open a door and when to close one in mercy. A new covenant current does not mean every old consequence disappears in a moment. It means the old pattern is no longer unchallenged. It means my spirit has been invited into the stream. It means one surrendered heart has stood before me and said, "Let mercy move here. Let truth move here. Let deliverance move here. Let what wounded us stop having the final word. My beloved child, do you see what I am doing? I am teaching you to stop agreeing with generational despair. I am teaching you to stop calling your family cursed when I am calling you to pray from covenant. I am teaching you to bless without denying truth, to intercede without controlling, to hope without striving, and to stand without fear. Therefore, speak the declaration with a steady heart. As for me and my house, we will belong to the Lord. Say it over the known names and the hidden wounds. Say it over the children and the elders. Say it over the marriages, the broken places, the empty chairs, the distant ones, the silent ones, the angry ones, the weary ones, the ones who believe, and the ones who do not yet know how near my mercy has come. Say it not because you hold them in your own strength, but because you are placing them beneath mine. Now, my child, this message becomes intercession. Bring every name before me. Bring every unnamed family member before me. Bring the living, the grieving, the distant, the bound, the hardened, the tender, the fearful, the young, the old, the remembered, and the forgotten. Place them all in my hands. The burden is no longer yours to carry alone. The bloodline is not locked inside old patterns. My mercy is moving. My covenant is covering. My hand is open. And now you will pray, not from panic, but from surrender, placing your family fully beneath the faithful hands of the Lord. Now, my child, place your family burden in my hands. Do not rush this moment. Do not hurry past the surrender your soul has needed for so long. Breathe before me. Let your hands open. Let your heart become quiet. Let every name, every fear, every unresolved conversation, every hidden wound, every unanswered question, and every weight you have carried alone come into the light of my presence. Tonight is not the night you pretend the burden is small. Tonight is the night you stop carrying it as though you are alone. Pray now with a surrendered heart. Father, I bring my family before you. I bring the sickness that has frightened us, the conflict that has divided us, the debt that has pressured us, the rebellion that has grieved us, the grief that has weakened us, the fear that has followed us, the distance that has pained us, the unforgiveness that has hardened us, the confusion that has clouded us, and the emotional exhaustion that has made us wonder how much longer we can stand. I bring every visible burden and every hidden burden. I bring what I understand and what I cannot explain. I bring the family members who are near and the family members who are far. I bring the ones who speak and the ones who remain silent. I bring the ones who believe and the ones who are still running from your voice. Tonight, Lord, I place them in your hands. Cover every household represented here. Let peace enter the rooms where fear has been speaking. Let wisdom govern conversations that once became arguments. Let protection rest over sons and daughters, mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, grandparents, siblings, relatives, caregivers, and children not yet old enough to understand the battles around them. Guard the loved ones we cannot watch every hour. Reach the ones we cannot persuade. Speak to the hearts we cannot soften. Heal the wounds we cannot touch. Provide where lack has pressed heavily. Restore strength to those who have cared for everyone, while quietly growing weary themselves. Lord, teach me to love without taking your place. Teach me to pray without panic. Teach me to stand without striving. I will not carry this burden as I carried it before. I will not worship fear. I will not bow to every anxious thought as though it has authority over my family. I will not confuse delay with abandonment. I will not call silence emptiness when you are still working beneath the surface. I will not measure your faithfulness only by what has already changed. I choose to trust you in the unfinished place. I choose to believe that no prayer has been wasted, no tear has been ignored, and no name placed before you has fallen outside your care. My beloved child, let this prayer become your agreement. Let surrender become your altar. Let peace become your portion. You are not releasing your family into emptiness. You are releasing them into my hands. You are not abandoning responsibility. You are returning lordship to me. You are not giving up hope. You are giving up the torment of believing everything depends on your control. I am faithful with what you entrust to me. And now, as an act of faith and agreement, write these words with a steady heart. My family burden is in God's hands tonight. Do not write them as a performance. Write them as surrender. Write them over the names you have carried. Write them over the situation that has kept you awake. Write them over the pain that has felt too complicated to explain. My family burden is in God's hands tonight. Leave your prayer requests, my child. Let others stand with you in intercession. If your family needs healing, write it. If your family needs protection, write it. If your home needs forgiveness, write it. If there is a son, a daughter, a marriage, a parent, a sibling, a diagnosis, a debt, a grief, or a battle you are placing before me, bring it into prayer. You were not called to stand alone. Let a community of faith agree for mercy, covering, restoration, wisdom, and breakthrough. And if this message has met you in the hidden place, share it with someone who is carrying family pain. Let this word reach another weary heart before the night is over. Subscribe for more prayer and God message devotionals that help your spirit return to peace. Like this video if tonight you are choosing peace over fear, surrender over striving, and trust over torment. Now receive my blessing. May peace cover your household. May my presence guard every room. May wisdom fill every conversation. May protection surround every loved one. May renewed strength rise in every caregiver. May forgiveness break chains without denying the truth. May hope return where fear has spoken too long. And may you sleep tonight with this confidence. No prayer for your family has been wasted. No burden placed in my hands is forgotten. And what you have entrusted to me, I am faithful to hold.